Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining in the Festive Tech Calendar season. So, in this Festive Tech Calendar season, I'm going to present Develop AI Agents with Semantic Kernel. Let's get started. So, before we starting the session, let me introduce myself. I am Janathan Selvaraj. I am a Microsoft Most Valuable Professional in the AI platform, as well as I'm a Microsoft Certified Trainer, and I'm a Microsoft Learn Expert as well. So currently I have completed 13 Microsoft certification in the Azure platform. I'm an author, I'm a speaker, as well as I used to contribute articles and blogs in the Shisha Corner. And if any queries related to artificial intelligence and GenAI related things, you can always reach out to my LinkedIn handle. And also, I used to post videos related to internship opportunities, job opportunities, then the latest technology trending updates in my YouTube handle. So you can reach out to my YouTube handle as well. Let's get started. So this is the agenda for today's session. In today's session, we will be discussing about the semantic kernel high-level overview, why we have to use semantic kernel, and what is the purpose of the AI agents, and how to build your own kernel with the help of semantic kernel SDK. And also, let's see the various built-in plugins available in semantic kernel SDK and related hands-on we will be discussing as part of this particular session. First, let us discuss what is semantic kernel. Semantic kernel, it is an open source SDK. If you want to build your own artificial intelligence AI agents with the help of semantic kernel SDK, it is possible. How it is possible in the sense, you can combine your large language model along with your native code extensions. The developers can create their own AI agents, and also they'll able to respond to the natural language prompts related to the semantic kernel SDK. So let's see one by one. So when it comes to the language support, the semantic kernel SDK, it supports Python, your C#.NET as well as Java language. These three language support, which is supported by your semantic kernel extension, as well as if you notice the artificial intelligence endpoint support, the semantic kernel SDK was supported by the AI service connectors like Azure OpenAI AI Service Connector, OpenAI Service Connector is supported, your Hugging Face, your Mistral AI, your ONXX. So various types of AI endpoints which is supported by the semantic kernel SDKs. First, let's see what is this artificial intelligence agents. Artificial intelligence agent is a program where you will be able to achieve a specific goal or a task. All these artificial intelligence agents are powered by the large language model, which will be trained with a massive amount of data. And also, this AI agents able to fulfill a variety of tasks with the minimal human intervention. And I say variety of tasks, it could be summarize their meetings, if you can compose your emails, provide recommendation, and these are the various tasks your AI agent it is possible to support it with the minimal human intervention. So when it comes to the AI agent capabilities, we have an opportunity to write a code as well as in order to compose your email stuff. It is possible to provide your recommendation services, and also you will be able to do summarizing your entire minutes of meeting with the help of AI agents capabilities. Why we require semantic kernel? Semantic kernel, the need is if I want to streamline the entire integration, you can use semantic kernel. So what type of semantic kernel streamline integration in a sense? It is going to simplify the entire integration AI capabilities into an existing application. So streamlining is possible and the reduced learning curve. No need to master to be the all your LLM API is not required. And also it provides enhanced reliability. When it comes to enhanced reliability, the semantic kernel SDK has the ability to fine tune their prompt for the relevant task. So these are the three reasons why are we using semantic kernel. So what are the major components of your agent? Agent has three important components, the plugin, planner, and the last one is persona. What is plugin? In order to retrieve a certain information related to your HTTP, related to your conversation, related to your mathematical related operation or time IO operation, you can use plugin to retrieve your overall information. And planner is how are we going to use your plugin with the help of your planners only. And the last one is persona. Persona is going to respond your you need to provide a responses to your action with respect to a planner, which is your persona. So these three are the major components in order to constitute your agent components. Let's say it is semantic kernel architecture. If you notice the semantic kernel architecture, the entire connector will be played as part of your semantic kernel AI orchestration layer. And inside the orchestration layer, we have two important components known as connector. The another one is plugin. So as I mentioned earlier in the plugin slide, what does the plugin meaning is? So plugin meaning how are we going to retrieve the entire information related to your HTTP? There are various types of plugin like a summarization plugin, conversation plugin, your time plugin. So those type of plugin, if you want to retrieve any type of information, we will start using the plugin component. And this connector component, if I want to connect the Azure OpenAI connector, your Hugging Face connector, OpenAI connector, Mistral AI, a Llama model connector, or Anthropic connectors, it is possible to use your semantic kernel SDK with the help of your connectors with the various Azure AI endpoints. And the last one is the triggers and the actions. The trigger and an action is nothing but your personas. If you want to respond to your planner and how are we going to retrieve the overall information with the help of plugin, your triggers and action will perform it. So there's an overall semantic kernel architecture at high level view. So let's see what are the prerequisite you require when it comes to the semantic kernel SDK in live demo. The very first one is the user should have a valid Azure subscription followed by the Azure OpenAI resource with the compactable region of the model. It could be GPT-4o or GPT-4o mini or O1 preview or O1 mini. Any type of compactable model, we can start creating it with respect to the deployment purpose. So these are the three high level prerequisites required when it comes to the semantic kernel SDK. Let's see how to build your own kernel with the help of your semantic kernel SDK along with your C#.NET framework. The very first line, if you notice that you have to download the package which is known as your semantic kernel.NET package using Microsoft semantic kernel. So this particular package you are supposed to download when it comes to building your own kernel objects. Once you have downloaded the package, we will be creating this kernel object with the help of create builder class. Once that is done, as I mentioned earlier, it is possible to add your Azure endpoints with the help of Azure OpenAI, with the help of OpenAI, Hugging Face, your Mistral AI, your Anthropic AI endpoint services. So here I have used the endpoint known as add Azure OpenAI chat completion as an endpoint. And in that, you have to pass certain parameters like the deployment name, your endpoint, as well as your API key. Your model ID is an optional. And once it is we pass all these parameters to the method, add Azure OpenAI completion method. You have to build the overall kernel object with the help of build method. So let me tell you in terms of your resource provisioning. So what I have done is I have provisioned the Azure OpenAI resource in the Azure AI portal. My name of the Azure OpenAI resource is Travel Azure AZ OpenAI. This is that Azure OpenAI resource. After it is done, we have to redirect to the Azure AI Studio. Now it is the Azure AI Foundry. So once you have redirected it, you just go to the deployment section in the shared resources. You will be creating a new deployment base model. I have already deployed the base model, which is known as GPT-4o. GPT-4o is a base model which I have already deployed. I'll tell you how to deploy the base model. Click the deploy model option where you can notice a base model, deploy base model. You search for the model GPT hyphen 4o. This is a base model. I'm going to deploy it. So there are certain number of models where we'll able to deploy it when it comes to your model selection. So there are several models that are available. In our case, what is the model we have been deployed as GPT-4o model we have been deployed it. Once that is done, what are the essential details you require is the model deployment name and the key information and endpoint information. These are the three essential elements you are supposed to add in your application development. So let me show the Microsoft Azure Visual Studio. In this Microsoft Visual Studio code, so what I have created is the very first one is we have to add the package known as the semantic kernel package. I have added it. Once it is done, in your main method, we have created the kernel object with the help of create builder class. Inside the create builder class, our Azure AI endpoint is add Azure OpenAI chat completion. There are three elements you are supposed to pass. One is the deployment name, the API key, and the endpoint. Okay. And here the API key and the endpoint I have hard coded it. If you want to pass your key information, you can use key vault service as well. So once we pass these three parameters, you can build the kernel object with the help of build method once it is done. Let's use the method known as invoke prompt async method. In this invoke prompt async method, what is the prompt I have given is give me a list of breakfast food with the bread and cheese. So for this particular prompt, it is going to provide a list of breakfast foods which is containing the bread and the cheese. So this is the prompt we have provided inside the method known as invoke prompt async method. And in the avoid, you are going to print it with the help of your console.readline, write line, and whatever the value is there, it will be stored in the variable known as result variable. Let me execute this particular code with the help of the command .NET run. The name of the program is program.cs. So this particular class I am going to execute because it is a static function of the class. I'll directly call the class name itself. So now the code started checking it, and you can notice it is provided a list of breakfast foods with bread and butter. There is a list of breakfast foods with bread and butter. You can see cheese toast, grilled cheese sandwich. So these are the list of items, especially the breakfast foods, along with the bread and the cheese combination. So we got the result. So let's deep dive into more into the semantic kernel SDK. So what I will do now, I'll start commenting this. Line number 16 as well as line number 17, I'm going to comment it. So let's revisit the presentation one more time. So after we build the kernel object with a very simple use cases, let's see what are the built-in plugins available related to your semantic kernel. So we have built-in plugins. There are several types of plugins that are available, like a conversation summary plugin, file IO plugin, HTTP plugin, map plugin, text plugin, and your time plugin, also wait plugin. These are the various types of plugins that are available when it comes to your semantic kernel SDK. What is the purpose behind your summarization conversation summary plugin? Is if you want to summarize the overall conversation, you can go for conversation summary plugin. In that, we have three important action elements are present. And I say action elements gets summarization. So like summarize your conversation, get conversation topics, get conversation action items. These are the actions present as part of the conversation summary plugin. In the file IO plugin, if I want to read or write to any file system, you can go for file IO plugin. If I want to make any HTTP request, you'll be going for HTTP plugin. Map plugin is used to perform any mathematical operations. And similarly, for text manipulation, you can start using the text plugin. Your time plugin, if I want to get any date and time information, you can go for the time plugin. And finally, if I want to wait or if I want to pause any execution time, you can go for the avoid plugin. So these are list of plugins. Let's see the plugins one hands-on demo. So when it comes to the plugins hands-on demo, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new class called as program001 as a new class. In this class, what is the static method I'm having? It is my time as a static method we have. And with the help, first step is we have to provision the kernel object. How to create a kernel object? With the help of create builder method, we are creating a kernel object. After this, we have added the add Azure AI service method is your Azure OpenAI chat completion. There we pass three parameters, the deployment name, the API key, as well as the endpoint. And since it is a time plugin, you may be getting a certain warning information because it is related to plugin. In order to suppress your warning information related to plugin, we will be using this pragma statement. So what is the plugin I have used here is time plugin. So time plugin is one of the collection and we used it within the our Anglo bracket. And so what is the method we call this? Uh, kernel invoke async. In this kernel invoke async, first of all, we call the time plugin and the constant variable, which is nothing but the day of the week. So this entire statements are available within the my time functionality. Let us call the main functionality. What I will be doing is avoid the name of the program dot your method name. So my method name, it is my time method. So it is going to execute the time plugin option now. Let's execute it. .NET run the name of the program. The name of the main class is program class. And also, what is the beauty? You can notice that you will be able to see your respective packages in the .cs project. So what are packages I have included here? It is your semantic kernel package and semantic kernel plugins.core package. And you can also get the result as today it is a Friday. So this particular day, in terms of day of the week and time plugin, it is executed. Similarly, you can execute one of the another plugin option known as another important plugin option is your conversation summary plugin. If I want to summarize the overall conversation, you'll be using the method or the plugin is known as conversation summary plugin. In the conversation summary plugin, we have three types of actions available like summarize conversation, get summary, get conversation topics, get conversation action items. So these are the three actions present as part of the conversation summary plugin. Let's see that in the code. So let's go to the code which is known as program002.cs in this one. So what I'll be adding now, there is one static method known as my conversation. My conversation is one of the static method. And here we have added the packages semantic kernel as well as semantic kernel plugins core package. We have added it. And after the third step is we have provisioned the kernel object with the help of create builder method. And inside the create builder method, we use that object known as builder dot add AI service endpoint and connector with the help of the Azure OpenAI chat completion, where you have to pass three parameters. What are three parameters are we passing is? One is the deployment name, and the second one is the API key, and the third one is the endpoint. These are the three elements we have to pass inside the Azure OpenAI chat completion. After it is completed, so we will be using one of the plugin known as conversation summary plugin. The conversation summary plugin, we passed it and we suppressed the plugin warning messages with the help of Pragma warning. And finally, so I'm writing one conversation. What is the prompt I have written is I'm a vegan in search of new recipes. I love spicy food. Can you give me a list of breakfast recipes that are vegan friendly? So for this particular input, inside the invoke async method, we will be passing the plugin name, which is a conversation summary plugin. And afterwards, there are three actions that are available in the conversation summary plugin, like summarize conversation, get uh, get conversation topics, summarize conversation. There is one more action element known as get conversation topics. Get conversation topics I have given here now. So let us call the function name my conversation in the main class. So what I will do, I'll comment the existing one. Let me execute my conversation method. Avoid the name of the class name dot my conversation method dot net run program. When you do this, you will be getting get conversation topics. This is the action we got the result as. So what are topics is? One is vegan, recipes, spicy food, breakfast. These are the high level topic names it is produced by the action name known as get conversation topics. The one more action which is present as part of the conversation summary plugin is other than this. So we have the second action element is get conversation action elements. So this is second action element. Let's see the result. .NET run program. So let's see get conversation action items. What are get conversation action items are? Your owner is one of the action item name, due date, status is open or not, notes. So these are the action elements present as part of the get conversation action items. And the last one is summarize conversation. This is the last action element. Say .NET run name of the class. And the name of the class is program. Let's see the result. So that is got summarized now. Like individual is a vegan who enjoys spicy food and is looking for new vegan friendly breakfast recipes. So they are seeking a list of such recipes. So this is summarization of this particular context. Similarly, let's see. Let's go back to the presentation again. How will you create prompt templates? Okay. So when you start creating the prompt templates, what will happen is the Semantic Kernel SDK supports a template language which allows users to write expressions and variables in their natural language prompts using prompt template. And in order to embed such type of expressions, you have to use flower braces. That is a curly braces we will be using it. And let's see what are the various types of optimization related to the language persona type. So you have to use your persona in your prompt. How are we using the persona in terms of the prompt is assigning personas to your prompt will improve the overall quality of the responses generated by the large language model. So whenever you start assigning any particular persona in your large language model, what will happen is the overall quality of the responses or the outcome generated by the large language model is much improved, and also it will provide a consistent responses which is going to align to the user intent. If I want to align to any user intent, the overall responses will be pretty much consistently aligned to your persona type in your prompt. So let's see how that is working in your code. Let's go back to the code again. So I'll comment this. This one I'll uncomment it. So here, what is the function name I have written is in the task function, my prompt. Afterwards, we use create builder kernel object to create your builder object and add Azure AI chat completion where you will be passing the deployment name, the API key, and the endpoint. Afterwards, once you build the kernel object, here I specify what I specified is I specify my language is French. And since I want to use the persona type, I'll be using the curly braces or the flower braces with the expression dollar. Dollar language is nothing but a French. Give me a list of helpful phrases and words in a French language for a traveler that would be useful. Okay. If I want to build any type of travel copilot or a travel assistance, this will be more suitable with respect to your semantic kernel SDK. And what I'll be doing is I'll be calling the invoke prompt async method and I'll be calling the prompt. And this entire task function is a static method. We will be calling the main method. Avoid the program name, the name of the class dot your method name, which is my prompt. Let me execute as .NET run program. When you start executing it, you can see the differences. So since you are a traveler and you want to get useful phrases as well as your list of items in French language from English to French, this will be more useful. So you can notice here basic phrases like go hello, good morning. In English, it will be bonjour. And merci is nothing but thank you. And merci beaucoup is your thank you very much. So your English related phrases and relevant your French related phrases will be there like a basic phrases, and you will be getting essential phrases. Do you speak English? I don't know speak. I don't speak French. I speak a little French. That is in English. The same thing will be translated in a French, and directions will be there as well as transportation will be there. And I say directions, whether it is too far or too near or straight left. So those type of phrases. Transportation, one-way ticket, a ticket, round trip ticket, and when is the next stop? And I would like to rent a car. What time does a train leave? So those type of English phrases is now converted into French phrases, accommodation details, your dining details, your emergency details. They call the police. I need a doctor. Where is the hospital? It's an emergency. For all the English related phrases, there will be a French related option will be available. And this type of phrases will be helpful for a traveler who's facing a situation. He knows only English, but he's not having any idea how to talk in French. So that is possible to get it with help of your semantic kernel SDK. And overall, if you notice, that's it. And overall, if you notice that what we have been discussed is, in the initial stage, we discussed what is semantic kernel SDK, why we have to use semantic kernel, what is semantic kernel, high level architecture, we have discussed it. And then we spoke about the list of language support, your Azure AI services endpoint support, and built-in plugins, the customized plugins we discussed, and the persona types with respect to a semantic kernel we have discussed it along with the hands-on. Okay. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and we will meet in another interesting session in the upcoming episodes. Please stay tuned for more updates. And if you want to connect with me, please check out my social handles. This is my LinkedIn handle as well as my YouTube handle. So please do check out. Thank you so much and have a nice day.